Rajatan, ruler of Indopal, has used enough forcibles to transform himself into the ultimate warrior, the sum of all men. Aten seeks to bring all of humanity under his rule, destroying anything and anyone that stood in his path, including many friends and allies of young Prince Gaborn Valorden. But Gaborn has fulfilled a 2,000-year-old prophecy, becoming the Earth King, a mythic figure who can unleash the forces of the Earth itself. Hello and welcome to Liam's Lyceum. I'm your host, Liam, aka Hemvar, and today we'll be doing a spoiler-free review of David Farland's Brotherhood of the Wolf. Brotherhood of the Wolf is a 1999 novel and book 2 of the Runelords series by David Farland. This starts where the first ends. Rajatan is still a threat, but he becomes more complex and not the typical bad guy that is, a little laughable, that he kind of was in book 1. There are also more threats that come forth, and this moves the series into more epic territory. Aten still wants to be the sum of all men, though, and the prologue shows us this. He thinks he should be obeyed. He essentially thinks he is the best. The Reavers, though, come to the forefront in this novel. They are only on the edges in book 1. This reminds me some of book 2, The Wheel of Time, but more direct and not a slow movie, not even close. It reminded me some of King's Dragon by Kate Elliott as well, but I've only read the first book in that series, Crown of Stars. It also gives me a semblance of Weber's War God, but that is less epic and is more heroic fantasy. But these are all 90s fantasy, and some maybe that you can maybe see some similarities in. And I've said this before, I'm not a huge into epic fantasy unless it can show me something a little different, such as Malazan or, First Law even does. Runelords is dark and full of magic with consequences and moral dilemmas, especially when it comes to endowments and how that leaves those giving them whether they should be taken from animals at all. Gaborn Valorden of Mystaria is still our main character, recently crowned by the Earth Spirit. He has some access to the more mysterious and abstract magic from this, crowning and becoming the Earth King, apparently, which, again, happens at the very end of the first book, so I didn't talk about it in my first review. Borensin, Binismin, and others are still present, and Iome is still present as well, more enabled to be less of a victim in this novel as well. Borensin's father, Roland, is also a character. He's a character returned from time, if you will, kind of like Shumer or Uskevrin in the Semia books, if you read those. Averin is another new character, though we meet, and through her, rather, we meet the towering, six-legged, rune-covered Reavers. They're very alien. They're not really relatable at all. She introduces us to the Grok as well, which are mounts sort of like a dragon. We also get Erin, who is new and obviously kind of Irish-influenced, or fantasy Irish, right? And Mirama, who is the wife of Borensin, is here as well. As typical of epic fantasy, it's a little bloated, but not terribly so, I felt like at all. Actually, Farland does a great job, and even a better job in the later books in this series, of keeping these down. In fact, I'm curious why this doesn't, didn't dethrone Wheel of Time at the time, because these are coming out around the same time. The magic itself very much seems inspired by Farland's religion. It leaves me wondering if magic systems as a whole come from Mormons, though it surely stems from D&D. It's just that Farland is an early writer and Sanderson is really a Farlandian writer, if you want to put it that way. That being said, the magic doesn't really feel exactly, like superpowers because of the equal amount of negatives that happen as well. You can have great, huge, and fast warriors, but they don't replenish something like Stormlight. And there is a more human element that I feel like Sanderson largely misses in his magic. The world has modern era levels of population, armies of 100,000, hundreds of millions in one country. There is an obvious have and have not between the nobles and commoners, kind of like light and dark eyes as well. Commoners don't get endowments, they only give them, and they give them to nobility. This is super epic, insanely so, and it works quite well. I really, really enjoyed this one. The title of this one, Brotherhood of the Wolf, only appears on the very last page, and I was wondering what it was the whole novel. But I kept on feeling this was showing a few LDS and Mormon themes, or ideas at least. It's not overt, but being familiar with that faith and knowing it was Farland's makes sense to me. But, you don't have to feel like you're going to get preached to in this one at all. And, honestly, I was really impressed with this novel. This is the largest novel in the Runelords series, as far as I'm aware. and I think it may also be my favorite. I really liked this one, and I've read up to book 6 as of recording this. So, anyways, or through book 6, I still have 7 and 8 to go. But anyways, Liam from Liam's Lyceum, I really enjoyed this one. Let me know if you've read this one. I'll try to link my review to the Sum of All Men, the first Runelords book as well here. But anyways, I will catch you next time.